I'm preparing you for the fight of your life. When students come to me for other reasons, I usually encourage them to go to someone else who might have an interest in recreational shooting, because I don't. Oh, you must be gentle with the trigger.
What would you say, you've seen a lot of shooters, including myself, that
Yes.
get out there and have struggle. What would you say maybe the top 3 or the top 5 things that people struggle with the most that you would recommend they spend quality time training?
Okay, there's a good question. And by far, the hardest thing, for at least for Westerners to grasp, is how to run a trigger on a gun. I'll tell you a story. I was in Aspen, Colorado. This is several years ago. I used to do training for a bodyguard academy out there, ESI, and I still know them very well. But while I was there, there was a group of martial artists, Taekwondo students from Korea, who were in town to train with several people there. And they let it be known that they wanted to go out to the range and shoot, because none of them knew anything about guns. And so I was approached and asked, would you take them out there? And so I agreed, and out we went. And right away, I found out none of them spoke English. Maybe this one's just a good idea. None of them have ever done but anything with a gun, but seen a picture of one.
Right.
So I remember saying to myself, well, we probably aren't going to make much progress, but at least we'll try to do it safely. And so through an interpreter, I'm trying to acquaint them about how you need to hold steady and press the trigger and just let the gun shoot, instead of trying to participate in the launch. And we're all familiar with that, of course. And they're not understanding any of this. I'm wasting my time. I was wrong. They picked it up like that. And I remember one of the students who spoke a little bit of English came to me and he said, oh, you must be gentle with the trigger. Wow, would you say it a little louder? And it occurred to me, why? I have such a hard time explaining this. Why did they pick this up so fast? And I think the reason is this. It comes from their whole national philosophy, which embraces their form of government, it embraces their religion. It's all passive. They are used to letting things happen to them. And their religion dictates that, their form of government dictates that. You sit there and things happen to you and you do the best you can. In Western culture, which we come from, we are so slam bang oriented. It's just slam bang. Everything we do. You look at all the martial arts that are popular in this country. They're all slam bang. They're all high impact martial arts. The really elegant martial arts, like Hapkido and Falun Do, and that are actually far more elegant, don't have nearly a following in this country as a slam bang martial arts do. And we bring this slam bang attitude with us, whether we want it or not, to shooting. And teaching people how to run a trigger is almost a mandatory introduction to Oriental religion. The Zen, as it were, of a trigger, because you just have to let the gun do it. You can't force it. And for Westerners, that's so tough to get through their mind. For people coming from a religion that wraps around that very concept, they pick it up immediately. Oh yeah, that, of course. In archery, we have the same issue, that when you load up the bow, you've got to release the arrow. Just release it. But that involves a relaxation of a muscle. It's far easier. Shooting involves a contraction of a muscle. And to do that gently and smoothly is a lot more difficult. Some people pick it up immediately. Others, I know people have been shooting for 30 years who still yank the snot out of the trigger. And why am I missing? Well, watch yourself, You're shooting like this. They understand it intellectually. They just can't make themselves do it. It's like quitting smoking. Yeah, I know I need to quit, but I can't seem to do it. Well, some people can, some people can't. Some people struggle, some people it comes easy. But that is probably the single thing.
Okay.
This hard, you have to communicate it philosophically, and then you have to translate that into something physical that involves the contraction of a muscle. That's far more difficult than a lot of people think. Go ahead. Other things.
Top three, yeah.
Other things, getting feet out of cement. You heard me use that expression.
I have.
Getting people to move. Sometimes when we teach a course involving cover, you go to cover and use cover. Well, you got to get them moving first. Once you get them moving to cover or moving somewhere makes sense. But otherwise, they'll stand there like statues with their feet in cement, and you've got to explain to them, you're not going to live through that. You're not going to survive that. If there's any chance of you living through this, you've got to get in motion. And you saw for yourself what a challenge that is. Because, for one, I suck at multitasking. You know, it's hard for me to walk, talk, salute, and chew gum all at once. But that's what it amounts to.
Right.
You have to do this while you're moving. You can't do this, then move. You've got to do the two things at once.
And I think that's particularly difficult for some shooters that are indoctrinated into the training process.
Right.
They go get a firearm because of some scenario they've created in their head. They get some ammunition, go to the range, and stand there and shoot.
Absolutely.
Or that's their vision of what we do is stand there and, static and
Right. Look at the way most ranges are oriented. They got these stall, they put you in a stall where you can't move. And that's not done to enhance training. That's done to enhance the income of the range. But as you know, if on indoor ranges, we don't use the stalls at all. We just get out in front of the stalls so we can move. And sometimes some of the more traditionally oriented people will say, you can't move, that's dangerous. Well, of course it's dangerous. But once again, if you plan on living through this, you've got to get in motion, and that's a barrier to overcome also.
Get your feet out of the cement.
Right.
What personal values are important to you?
And there's a good question. I like to think of myself as a good person. I think good people are personally honest. Good people are dependable. Good people show up. Good people do what they say they're going to do. I think good people are kind. I think good people are gracious. And I think good people value their relations with other people. I'm not nearly as good as I should be. People sometimes ask me about religion. I claim to be a Christian, but I hasten to add I'm a very poor one.
Not very good
And I know I should be better.
That's my story. Yeah, right.
But once again, this is not a destination. This is a journey.
Yes, sir.
We step up to the plate, and we err, and we fail again and again, and keep stepping up to the plate and try to be a good person and a better person every day. So, as you probably know, I don't really care to associate with people I don't consider to be honorable. Life is too short to spend it with people for whom you have no respect. I like honorable people. And again, I try to be a good person. But I realize I fail in many ways. But still, that's always our goal, to be good and productive and honest people who advance our civilization and advance our personal relationships with other people.
Okay. What separates John Farnam from other instructors?
Well, most of them are better than I am.
I knew you were going to be humble about that.
Probably the
Always
thing.
humble. Mhm.
I don't know that I'm particularly unique. I've been around for a while. You know, I'm among the older, I don't say that with great pride, but of the instructors that are out there. But every instructor out there that I respect brings something unique to this business. And I try to make it a point to sit in on all their classes because I see things that they do that I never thought of. And I try to steal as much as I can, of course. When I run instructors' classes, you'll hear me say this, that I don't want you to be more like me. I want you to be more like you. We call it the personal use of self. You have to recognize what you're good at and work at that. There are some things you'll never be good at. And so I guess I have fewer expectations of myself in those areas, but I try to capitalize on those few things that I am good at in communication and working with students. But there's many instructors out there for whom I have a great deal of respect, and they're colleagues of mine. And I suppose you could say they're competitors, but you know, we're all good friends. And you could probably name some for whom I don't have a great deal of respect, but most of them I do. And as our spiritual antecedent, Attila the Hun once said, among other things, every warrior has value, even if for no other purpose than to serve as a bad example.
Very good, very good. I was taken by the different things that you were able to express to us during the class and during your conversations with so many people. Everything from the history of certain verbiage.
Yes.
And today, I don't know if I should give this away, but you told us a poem during the training.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm going to throw this in your head. At the end of our time together this evening, I'm going to ask you to do something. It doesn't have to be the same one.
All right.
But if you're okay with recalling
Sure.
one. And
Sure.
I've heard you're really good at this. So,
Well, I don't know.
where did you, where does that come from?
It comes from me. That's just one thing that I think helps sometimes when students understand the history, understand how we got here. And again, that's part of the emotional hook. When you try to make a point, you illustrate it with something like that. They remember the illustration and they'll remember the point. If you make the point in the abstract, sometimes it's not nearly as effective.
Are you college educated or
Yes,
self-educated?
Yes, I graduated with a bachelor degree, and several months later I was in Vietnam. Yeah.
Well, it paid off for us.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure I'm particularly well read or even well educated, but it's important to me to be effective, and I try to do whatever I can using what few talents I have to be effective with my students, because they deserve the most effective class I can present them. They're paying good money to be here, and I like to make sure they get their money's worth.
You did with me. I will say that. What would you consider your highest accomplishment?
My highest accomplishment, I think, is being a father with children and grandchildren I'm very proud of. And
How many grandchildren?
no, don't tell me now.
Oops.
Yeah,
Scratch
I
that.
think I've got 11 altogether.
Several.
Right.
Okay.
And they're all wonderful, and their parents are wonderful. And that's probably what I'm most proud of, although I'm not sure how much I had to do with it. And I'm proud of my friends and my colleagues that they would even spend time with me, that I apparently have them buffaloed or whatever, that they would actually invite me to come down here and talk. That to me is wonderful. I'm proud of my students. I'm not sure I've accomplished that much. I hope I have advanced the art. And maybe several generations from now, after all of us are long gone, something I said, some way I presented class will inspire another instructor to inspire the next generation. That's exciting to me. That's exciting to me to think that I'm actually influencing people. That's what we live for. That's why we do this. That's the joy of instructing, to think I'm influencing the next generation.
Right. You, not only in the classroom, not only in casual conversation, you've got, is it 3 books that
Yes.
you've written?
I've
Tell
written-
us a little bit about that.
Well, I've got a book on handgun shooting and a book on rifle shooting. And then I've got several times a week I feel a lecture coming on. I can't help myself. So I publish a what we call quips. It's just usually a page or sometimes less than a page. When one of my correspondents around the world sends me something and I think there's an important learning point there, I usually describe, here's what happened, now here's the point, here's what you need to take away from this, and I list that. And I send that out to a student list. I think there's about 10,000 on it now. And they get circulated around. And I've been doing this since 1998, so there's quite a few. And the first book, which is a collection of these, we put together, and that book is available. And we'll be doing a second one.
How would the viewers be able to get involved in
The
that?
best thing to do is go to my webpage. It's defense training, defense, and then a hyphen, and then training.com, defensetraining.com. Go to the webpage, and you'll see it all there. And if you want to order a book, we'll be happy to get it to you.
And the books are, in my opinion, a must read. Like home defense, when you add the words home defense to something nowadays, people's ears perk up.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a high topic. And this is stuff that was around before it became popular, but it is the stuff that you need to get involved. To really kind of understand a professional perspective on defending yourself, how to utilize firearms that you may already have. You're just not sure what to do if that terrible thing in your mind actually happens. That's a good place, I think, to start, and is all of the books that John.
And as you know from the class, it's not just running a gun. It's just not just operating a firearm.
Right.
There are verbal interactions. There are movements. There's a lot of things we have to combine to generate victory. And they all have to be exercised on the range. It's not just running a gun. Sometimes you use the illustration. If you can operate a toaster, that doesn't mean you can make breakfast. There's more to making breakfast than just running a toaster. And so I try to teach you how to make breakfast. And yeah, we'll get around to the toaster.
Right.
But there's other things you need to know, and they need to be exercised in the class. And some are kind of dry, but it's stuff you need to know. And it's got to be incorporated. All the steps have got to be linked together. I try to make a very complete course in that regard, so when the student goes out of there, he knows how to make breakfast, not just run a toaster.
Very, very, very thorough. Maybe if not one of the top 3 of the most thorough classes in that regard. And I'm going to do an after action and all that.
Okay.
And so rumor has it, I'm putting you on the spot, I'm going to do this. Rumor has it that you have considered maybe starting a YouTube channel.
Yes, I am so retarded in so many things like this, and I enjoy writing, and I enjoy publishing books and maybe having some influence on people. Well, the modern way to do that, of course, is through YouTube, and this is kind of strange territory to me, but my dear friends have dragged me kicking and screaming into the modern era, so I will be starting to do that. And I'm sure I'll get off to a shaky start, so bear with me.
I can assure you, the reason we want you to start a YouTube is selfish, because we are looking forward to getting that information from you. If you have a desire for particular thoughts on John starting his own YouTube channel, you can post those comments below, and I will make sure that he sees those later on. I think James and some of the others have gotten him in the right direction as far as that.
Well,
we're excited. I'm excited.
James is James Yeager, dear friend, has and a force in this industry. He ranks with he represents the next generation of instructors, along with Frank Sharp and a few others that now are coming on, and gradually displacing my generation. And for him to be kind enough to help me with this is very gratifying, and I appreciate it.
James Yeager owns Tactical Response. If you don't know that, tacticalresponse.com. Check that out. High quality training. You will not regret that. I had to get that plug in there. Do you have any regrets?
Well, as Frank Sinatra once said, regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Sure, there's missed opportunities. We had this discussion this afternoon. There are many times that I have remained silent and now wished I'd said something. There are many other times when I'd said something and wished I'd remained silent. I've done the latter far more than the former. So, sure. But all that is, you try to learn from it, but not dwell on it, and go on to the next challenge. When you're afraid to fail, when you're afraid to make mistakes, you're going to have a short and unhappy life. And you heard me say this in class. The beauty of doing nothing is that it can always be done perfectly. And the doers of deeds in this world get up there and fail and blunder and then get back up and go again, where those who are content to sit on the sidelines point out where they made their mistakes and then claim to be morally superior because they're content to do nothing. No, I'm not content to do nothing. I'm not afraid to fail, and I'm not afraid to succeed. I'm not afraid of anything.